You know something big is happening when a fifth-round rookie walks into an NFL training camp and completely flips the quarterback room upside down. Not with hype, not with off-field drama, but with cold, hard performance, precision, leadership, swagger, but the earned kind. And that's exactly what's going down in Berea, Ohio, where Sheduer Sanders just stunned the entire Cleveland Browns organization with a training camp performance that left fans chanting his name, teammates nodding in respect, and coaches suddenly very, very quiet. If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed. Let's set the stage. Coming into camp, Sheduer was listed as QB4. On paper, he was behind veteran Joe Flacco, second-year hopeful Kenny Pickett, and high-profile rookie Dylan Gabriel. The expectation? That Sheduer would get a few garbage time snaps, learn the ropes quietly, maybe run scout team duties, and fade into background while the real competition played out. That was the plan. But then day one happened. And that plan? Out the window. From the very first series, it was clear Sheduer wasn't playing script. He wasn't wide-eyed. He wasn't overwhelmed. He was ready, calm in the pocket, crisp footwork, on-time throws, and more than anything, command. The kind of presence that makes people turn their heads, not just because of the ball placement, but because of the confidence behind it. It wasn't just clean play. It was quarterback play, grown man play, the kind that screams, I'm not here to learn. I'm here to compete. And compete he did. While Gabriel was hesitating on reads, stalling through progressions and floating balls into coverage, Sheduer was slicing through drills like a surgeon. Short outs, deep comebacks, slants in traffic. Nothing looked too big for him. The rhythm was there, the timing, the efficiency. Even when receivers ran sloppy routes, he adjusted. He was coaching guys mid-drill, correcting alignments, encouraging rookies who looked rattled. Leadership front and center. And guess what? People noticed. Fast. Fans who showed up expecting to get a glimpse of the Browns' so-called QB future ended up shouting one name. Sheduer! Sheduer! Over and over. You could hear it ripple from the bleachers during 7 on 7S. And the players? Same deal. By the end of the session, receivers were gravitating toward him. A couple of offensive linemen made sure to dap him up. Even defenders, guys who never give rookies flowers, acknowledge him on the way off the field. That's not normal. That's the kind of energy you only get when someone's doing something undeniable. But here's where it gets tricky. Despite that performance, despite the clear gap between what Sheduer did and what the others didn't, the team's coaching staff stayed on message. Gabriel was still being talked up as the long-term project. Media questions about Sheduer were brushed off. Coaches mentioned rotations in early stages. Standard boilerplate. Translation? They weren't ready to admit it yet. That a this fifth rounder, might be the best quarterback on the field. And to be fair, we've seen this movie before. NFL franchises are notoriously slow to pivot, especially when they've already invested in a guy like Gabriel, a higher draft pick, a front office favorite. The scheme fit. They don't like admitting when the guy they didn't plan on starts outperforming the guy they bet on. But performance doesn't lie. And neither does the tape. If you watch the drills, you saw the difference. Sheduer was making throws before receivers broke. He was anticipating windows. Gabriel, meanwhile, was still waiting for guys to come open. There's no contest between those two skill sets. One belongs in the NFL. The other needs more seasoning. That contrast isn't just frustrating, it's illuminating, because it reveals a deeper tension in how NFL teams handle young quarterbacks. It's not always about who plays best. Sometimes it's about who is supposed to play best. And that's a dangerous game. You start making decisions based on pride, not performance, and suddenly you're wasting time, wasting reps, risking the locker room. Because here's the thing, players always know. They see every throw. They feel every huddle. They know who they trust on third down, who brings juice to the huddle, and who they believe can win a game. And if coaches keep ignoring that in favor of protecting their draft board, That trust starts to erode. That's what's at stake here. Not just a quarterback competition. A culture. Sheduer isn't just some media darling or highlight machine. He's putting in the work. He's already building chemistry. He's already earning trust. And off the field, even better. The guy's been everywhere, at local schools, charity events, team outings. He's not showing up for photo ops. He's showing up because leadership doesn't clock out when practice ends. Ask anyone who's worked with him, and they'll tell you, this isn't just a young man with a cannon arm. This is a guy who gets it, who understands that being a franchise quarterback isn't just about X's and O's. It's about accountability, poise, showing up every day like you belong, even if the nameplate on your locker says QB4. So how long can the Browns ignore it? That's the question fans are already asking. And not just fans. Beat reporters are catching on. Players are talking. There's a buzz now. The kind of buzz that can't be PR managed away. Every throw Sheduer makes from this point on is going to be under a microscope. Not because he's struggling, but because everyone wants to know how long it takes the team to admit what's happening. And that's a dangerous spot for the front office to be in, because the longer they delay the inevitable, the more it starts to look political, like they're protecting their draft investment, like they're clinging to the plan. But football doesn't care about plans. It cares about execution. And right now, Sheduer is executing. To ignore that, to keep pushing a narrative that doesn't match what people are seeing with their own eyes, that's how you start losing the locker room. That's how you alienate fans. That's how you create quarterback controversies that spiral into full-blown distractions. And if there's one thing Cleveland doesn't need, it's more quarterback drama. They've already been down that road too many times. Names come and go. Promises are made, broken, and forgotten. But what makes Sheduer different is that he isn't asking for a crown. He's earning one throw at a time, one rep at a time, one teammate at a time. That's how you build a foundation that lasts. And that's what he's doing. So what comes next? It's already starting. More reps with the twos. A longer look in red zone drills. Maybe a surprise appearance in the first preseason game. Once that door opens even crack, Sheduer's walking through it. He's not the type to let a moment pass. He prepares too hard. He studies too much. He leads too naturally. The Browns are sitting on something big. The kind of potential that doesn't come around often, and definitely not in the 5th round. The only question is whether they'll see it in time, or if they'll cling to a script that's already being rewritten in real time. Because if Sheduer Sanders can stun a stadium with a single practice, imagine what he can do when the lights come on. Cleveland, take notice. Your quarterback of the future might already be here. You just have to look past the depth chart. And if the Browns don't act soon, someone else will. Because here's the quiet truth that lives underneath every NFL preseason. If a franchise undervalues a player, especially a quarterback, there are 31 other teams watching. Scouts take notes. Coaches text each other. Personnel execs pay attention to buzz around the league, especially when a so-called depth guy is outperforming the presumed starters. And with the kind of camp Sheduer Sanders is having, that buzz is getting louder by the day. Imagine the scenario. The Browns try to stash him, to develop him slowly, to keep the narrative controlled. They limit his reps, ride with Gabriel or Flacco longer than they should, and figure they'll give Sheduer a shot in a year or two, if he's still around. But talent like this doesn't stay buried for long. Teams get desperate. Injuries happen. Phone calls are made. And all it takes is one. One call, one opportunity, one moment. For someone to steal a future franchise QB right out from under Cleveland's nose. And if that happens, if they lose him because they couldn't see what was right in front of them, that's the kind of miss that haunts a front office. This is a franchise that has already weathered its fair share of quarterback disasters. Misfires, false starts, overhyped signings. Quarterbacks who looked great in March but fell apart by October. The fan base has lived through it all. High picks that busted, journeymen who flamed out, and drama that never seemed to end. And now, finally, they might have something real, something special. A player who doesn't just want the job, but is ready for it, who lives for it. And the irony? He was never supposed to be the guy. Not according to draft experts. Not according to depth charts. Not according to the plan. But football doesn't care about the plan. Football cares about who shows up. And Sheduer Sanders? He's showing up. It's the consistency that's making the difference. Anyone can flash once, have a lucky throw, make a splashy highlight. But what Sheduer is doing day in, day out is proving that he's not here for a moment. He's here for the long haul. He's taking every rep seriously, staying after practice, communicating with coaches, bringing guys together for walkthroughs. He's operating like a starting quarterback before he's been given the title. That kind of behavior doesn't go unnoticed. And let's not gloss over how rare this is. The combination of athletic ability, leadership, intelligence, and humility, especially in a rookie, is not something you see often. Most young quarterbacks struggle to balance their responsibilities. Some lean too hard into the athleticism and ignore the mental aspect. Others overthink every read and play hesitant. Sheduer is threading the needle, trusting his preparation, trusting his talent, and improving by the hour. Even more impressive, he's not chasing the spotlight. In interviews, he's calm, polished, focused. He deflects praise, shouts out his teammates, credits the coaching staff. He says all the right things, but more importantly, he does all the right things. When a rookie QB walks, talks, and performs like a 10-year vet, you've got something rare on your hands. Which brings us back to the real question. How much longer can the Browns wait? Sure, it's early. Yes, it's training camp. But that's exactly when smart franchises make bold moves. You identify the players who are ready. You challenge them. You push them. You don't let politics get in the way. Because in the NFL, hesitation is risk. If Sheduer is your best quarterback, not your highest pick, not your most expensive, your best quarterback, then the answer is simple. You play him. You don't delay progress for the sake of optics. You don't slow a rising tide, protect a draft decision. You adapt, because that's what winning teams do. They put the best players on the field, no matter where they came from, no matter what anyone thought in April. And let's be clear, elevating Sheduer doesn't mean throwing him to the wolves. It doesn't mean naming him starter tomorrow. It means giving him more looks, letting him run with the second team, seeing how he performs in preseason action with better protection and real game flow, giving him the opportunity to earn it. And if he does, if he keeps stacking practices, keeps showing leadership, keeps winning over the locker room, then you have your answer. Not because you forced it, because he proved it. There's also something deeper at play here. The symbolic value of making the right call, of showing the fans that performance matters, that the Browns are serious about turning the page, that the same old politics won't decide the future. If they make the bold move and ride with a guy who's earning it, they send a message, not just to the team, but to the entire city. This fan base is starved for hope, for something real, something sustainable. And Sheduer Sanders might just be that spark. He's not a stopgap. He's not a fluke. He's a foundation. But if the Browns cling to old habits, if they ignore the tape and protect a narrative, then they risk losing more than just games. They risk losing faith. And that in a city like Cleveland is a dangerous thing to gamble. Because Cleveland fans know football. They see the difference. They're not fooled by press releases or depth chart politics. They're watching the throws. They're listening to the players. And they're making their own decisions. And right now, they're siding with Sheduer. They're not asking for perfection. They're not asking for guarantees. They're asking for a chance, for the best player to rise, for the team to stop repeating the same mistakes and embrace what's right in front of them. Because how many times do you have to see something special before you believe it? Apparently for the Browns, it takes more than one day, more than one practice. But for the fans, the teammates, and anyone watching with clear eyes, it's already obvious. Sheduer Sanders didn't just have a good day. He had a moment. And in football, moments become movements. This isn't about hype. It's not about Dion. It's not about flash. It's about a quarterback who came into camp as an afterthought and is leaving as a frontrunner. And if that doesn't shake up the Browns front office, it should. Because if they blink, if they hesitate, if they get caught clinging to the wrong quarterback just to protect an old decision, they're going to miss it. They're going to miss him. And the rest of the league? They'll be watching just like they are now. So here's the real headline. Sheduer Sanders didn't just stun Cleveland. He warned the NFL, you better start paying attention. Because this isn't just the rise of a rookie. It's the rise of the next quarterback that everyone's going to be talking about, whether the Browns are ready or not. Because once a quarterback like Sheduer Sanders starts rising, the clock starts ticking for everyone else. That's the thing people forget. Momentum doesn't wait for permission. It builds. And when it reaches a certain point, it becomes unstoppable. Coaches know this. Executives know this. Even the other quarterbacks in that room, they definitely know this. Joe Flacco has been around too long not to feel it. Kenny Pickett's been in enough battles to recognize when a younger guy is gaining steam. And Dylan Gabriel, despite the draft status, is likely feeling the weight of expectations settle heavier with each errant throw and each comparison to a fifth-rounder who just keeps delivering. This is the subtle politics of every NFL quarterback room. The shifting eye contact, the unspoken glances, the way players start choosing their huddle. When teammates are subtly choosing who they want to follow, it doesn't matter what the depth chart says. You can feel a locker room lean. And make no mistake, right now, it's leaning toward Sheduer. Why? Because nothing commands respect faster than consistency under pressure. Anyone can make one good throw. But when you show up every day, hitting your reads, maintaining poise, building chemistry, that's when a team starts to believe in you, even if the front office is dragging its feet. It's no longer a matter of whether Sheduer is in the mix. He is the mix. He's the name that keeps coming up in interviews. The player the media starts sneaking extra questions about. The guy in the back of highlight videos, calmly dissecting second-string defenses, throwing perfect back shoulder balls, showing pocket presence that rookies aren't supposed to have. Even fans who walked into camp out of curiosity are walking out with conviction. They've seen this movie too many times. The Browns invest in a quarterback, hype him up, ignore the signs, and stick with him until the wheels fall off. What they haven't seen in a long time is someone like Sheduer. Someone who doesn't just survive the spotlight, but thrives in it. Who doesn't talk his way into the conversation, but plays his way in. And you know what? That's terrifying for a front office that didn't expect it. Because what do you do when the guy you drafted later, paid less, and planned to keep quiet for a season suddenly becomes the one guy you can't keep off the field? That's where this whole situation gets fascinating. Because Cleveland is staring down a choice that's about more than just who plays quarterback. It's about what kind of organization they want to be. Do they want to be bold? Do they want to reward performance, even when it comes from an unexpected place? Do they want to ride the momentum that Sheduer is building, not just on the field, but in the locker room and with the fan base? Or do they want to cling to their plan, protect their draft investment in Gabriel, and risk letting the moment pass? Because that moment is coming. It always does. The first preseason game. The first time Sheduer gets live snaps against another team. If he plays the way he's been practicing, if he delivers in front of a stadium under pressure when the lights are on, it's over. The narrative will flip. The fans will scream louder. The national media will swoop in. And suddenly, the Browns won't just have a rising quarterback. They'll have a full-blown quarterback situation. And once that snowball starts rolling, good luck stopping it. That's why smart teams act before they're forced to. They get ahead of the noise. They reward players for performing. They adjust their plans when the facts change. And the facts for the Browns have definitely changed. Because no matter how much you want Gabriel to work out, no matter how badly you want to follow the script, you can't ignore the guy who's making your offense hum. You can't ignore the guy who walks into camp as the fourth stringer and walks off the field like he owns it. You especially can't ignore the guy who's winning the hearts of fans in a city known for demanding toughness, effort, and honesty. Cleveland doesn't fall for flash. They fall for grinders, for players who show up and earn it, for quarterbacks who feel like they get it, who respect the weight of the jersey they're wearing. Sheduer already gets it. And this isn't just about proving people wrong. It's about proving the Browns right, if they have the guts to follow what's happening on the field instead of what's printed in the media guide. Imagine the impact if they make the call. If they say, you know what? He's our guy. He's earned it. Let's roll. That kind of statement ripples across a team, across a city. It shows belief. It shows vision. It shows growth. It says this time, maybe, finally, the Browns are ready to stop repeating history and start making it. And if they don't, if they delay, if they push Sheduer down the chart to protect a decision they made months ago, they'll still know, deep down, that they saw something special and let it slip. That's the nightmare scenario. Watching him light it up in another uniform a year from now, while your offense sputters and your fans wonder why the obvious choice was ignored. Again, but it doesn't have to go that way. They have him now. The guy with the arm, the mind, the leadership, the factor. They just have to give him the ball. It doesn't have to be dramatic, just honest. We're evaluating everyone. Sheduer's earn more looks. That's it. No quarterback controversy. No backtracking. Just performance-based progression. Because if this team is serious about building something real, it starts with players who don't wait for opportunity. They create it. That's what Sheduer's done since the first snap. He came into camp buried on the depth chart. Now he's the one everyone's watching. He wasn't supposed to shake the quarterback room. Now it's tilted in his direction. He wasn't supposed to lead. Now the locker room is already listening. So what else does he have to prove? What more does he need to show? Maybe nothing. Maybe the Browns already know. Maybe they're just trying to figure out when to admit it. Because the longer they wait, the louder the question gets. If the best quarterback on your roster is a fifth-round rookie who's outplaying everyone else, why isn't he starting? And sooner or later, they'll have to answer. Because Sheduer Sanders is giving them every reason to make the move. And if they don't be surprised when the fans do it for them.